previous step, we created this geometry right here. It's pretty much done here. We just need to actually set the relations correctly so it's not only locked down but the correct size and shape. We're going to use a tool that Solidworks provides that creates all the relations automatically. So I'm going to come up here to the Sketch Command Manager. I'm going to select the down arrow here under Display, Delete Relations, and the last option here is to fully define sketch. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and brings up the fully defined sketch properties manager, and you have several options here. I want to select all the entities in the sketch because it's pretty simple. I want to add relations, which is your geometrical relations, as well as the dimensional relations. I'm going to go ahead and just select calculate here. You can get a lot more specific when you have a little bit more complex geometry, but I'm just going to select calculate. And it says here that fully defined sketch is complete, but the sketch is still underdefined. To fully define the sketch, do one of the following. So we're going to actually have to add our own dimension here. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And notice it added these dimensions here, but there is one line that's still blue, which means it's underdefined. The rest of it looks like it's pretty well defined. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. And then I'm going to move this dimension up here. I'm going to move it around a little bit so it looks better. Now, it doesn't really matter right now where the dimension is, but if you want to use this dimension later on in a later chapter when you're creating your drawing and you want to use this dimension in the drawing, it would be nice to actually have it similar to where you want it in the drawing. So I think this looks a little bit better. We need to modify each of these because this line is actually 3 inches, so I'm just going to double click on that, type in 3, and double click on this, and you can use a scroll bar too here. But that's kind of hard to do because you can't get it exact. So this is supposed to be 2.5. I'm going to go and select that. And that's supposed to be 1. And it's looks like it's just about fully defined. This line does not have a dimension, but we do have an angle there. So I want to change this. I'm just actually select it, right click, and select the delete. I want to get rid of it. Now all of a sudden it becomes underdefined again. That's fine. We're going to add our own smart dimension. I'm going to select it right over here, and I'm going to select this line. Gives me a length to begin with, but if I select a second entity, it will create the relationship between it, which happens to be an angle. So I'm just going to drag it out here and locate it. And it's at 11 degrees. We want it to be at 42 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. And then I want to actually move it again. So I'm just going to move it into location where it looks kind of nice. And I'm going to accept that. And there we go. It's fully defined. Everything is black. It says it's fully defined right here. If you want to test it, if we can grab one of those lines or one of those points and try to move it, it will not move. And that also verifies that it's fully defined. So we're ready to move on. It looks like we're done with this sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and exit the sketch. Now there's several ways you can exit sketch. One is right over here, select that tool. Or you can come over here and select this tool, exit sketch. Or you can right click and select this here, right here, exit sketch. And so we exit the sketch, the tool over here goes away, our grid goes away, and now our status bar tells us we're editing a part, so we know that we're in 3D. At this point we're ready to save our part. So I'm going to come up here to File, and you can do a save or save as. I'm going to do a save as so I can change the name, and I'm going to call it Angled Block. And I want to browse to where I want to save it and select save. Okay, now we're pretty much done here, except say if you want to actually edit it. How do you edit that sketch? Notice the dimensions are gone here, so I'm just gonna come over to Feature Manager Design Tree, and I'm going to select Sketch 1. That's what we just created there. And I'm going to right click, and it brings up this pop-up window. And one of the options here is to edit sketch. And now, by editing the sketch, it takes us back into Edit Sketch 1. And it tells us also here, sketch 1 of angled block. A lot of people, by mistake, when they first start this, they actually create a brand new sketch. And even though it's on the same plane, you can't really access the geometry to change it. So you have to be in the exact sketch, which happens to be sketch 1. So we're in sketch 1. You can make any changes you want. You can come in here and modify it. You can change the dimension. These dimensions are correct, so I'm not going to, but you could. Say if you accidentally rotate this part to where it's skewed, you can come up here to your view orientation and select this tool right here, and it'll rotate it normal to your view. That's kind of a pain sometimes because you have to select the down arrow and then come over here and select the right tool. Sometimes you grab the wrong tool. It's a little bit difficult. So another way you can do that is hit the space bar, and it brings up this tool right here, and we can actually tack it on to the screen. So now if we want normal to, just select normal, and boom. Once you're in the sketch, notice you also have access to all the items in your feature manager design tree. Even though your properties window is right here, you can still access and see what items there are here. So you can expand it, and that is pretty much should do for lesson 4 in creating the angled block.